Hello there. What is going on, everybody? We've got some amazing news for all you fans of Imperial Assault and Star Wars Armada, and really any Star Wars gaming fans in general, because a lot of really cool stuff came out of Gamma. We're going to be talking all about that today. Before I jump into that, let me do a little admin stuff. If you are new here, there is still time left to enter to win the giveaway. You can win a $25 Amazon gift card. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. That's running for a couple more days. I typically announce winners at the end of my videos, so make sure you stay tuned, watch all the way to the end. Now, also, if you are interested in supporting the channel, there are numerous ways you can do that via Patreon. There's Patreon exclusive giveaways going on all the time. Lots of rewards. You can check that out. There's links for all that in the description below. There's so you can follow me on social media. There's merch links in the description below if you want shirts like this one. There's tons of all of that. So check the description if you want to follow me on social media or any of those links, or if you want some merch or Patreon or any of that stuff, because all of that stuff definitely helps support the channel. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into this huge news. So I'm going to talk about Imperial Assault first, and then I'm going to talk about Armada. So if you're not interested at all in Imperial Assault, I guess I'm going to give a couple of overarching news first. So Team Covenant did some great interviews at Gamma, and that was just this past weekend. And one of the things that came out of there was an interview with Steve Horvath. He is the head of publishing at Asmodee North America. You may know him from his time at FFG or at Asmodee, but he's been with them for a very, very long time, and he was actually pretty forthcoming. I am going to put a link to this interview in the description below, because I am only going to talk about a few highlights, but the entire interview is really insightful. He goes into a lot of depth on, why some of the changes were made, how the market is changing, what's going on with Asmodee. He's very forthright without going too deep. I think it's basically just what players really need to know, and a lot of questions that people had. And I thought he was pretty forthright with that. So, big thanks to Team Covenant. Big thanks to Steve for, helping us out by giving us a lot of information. It's certainly a help to me. I had a lot of questions, and I think they answered some of them, and that's awesome. But we also got a little extra information too. And one of the things we learned from that is that, part of the restructuring is a separation of board and card games and then miniatures games. The three main miniatures games that FFG has going forward are X-Wing, Armada, and Legion. Those are their main three focus. Imperial Assault is there also, but that's in the board and card game section. And he basically told us something really cool in that the tale of Imperial Assault is not done. Now, they didn't elaborate a whole lot more on that, but there is a little bit more information about Imperial Assault. Now, it's not completely transparent on exactly why Imperial Assault doesn't see new product right now, but the profound theory right now is that it has a lot to do with Hasbro having the rights to Star Wars board games here in the United States, and that's why you see a lot of things like, the OP tried to make a Star Wars Dark Side Rising, and that one can only be sold in EMEA countries like Europe. You can order it from Europe if you want and have it shipped, overseas or something like that. But you can't buy it in America, for example, and that's of course where I live. So it's a real bummer, and especially when Hasbro makes. Yeah, they make a lot of games, but it's like, how many versions of Star Wars Monopoly do I really need? So it's nice when companies that are really innovative and make fantastic tabletop experiences have more rights to be able to make games. And basically that has a little bit, I believe, to do with why Imperial Assault does not see new product. It's part of this legal stuff, whereas when they first launched it, I went back and watched like an old Imperial Assault launch demo. Like they weren't allowed to actually sell it at Gen Con in their booth. When it came out, they had to have a different, like a regular gaming store booth. The same thing happened with Outer Rim. And it's just weird the way that all the legalese kind of works. And I'm like, come on, just let them make the game, let them sell the game. Like, at least that's as an end user, that's what I want. I want Fantasy Flight to be able to make more Star Wars games and be able to sell more Star Wars games, and so I can go to their booth and buy more Star Wars games. I think that's what most consumers want. I think most of us, hopefully most of you who are watching, would rather play a really good Star Wars board game than a Star Wars reskinning of a familiar board game. Like, what do I need? What's going to be next? Star Wars Connect 4, that Hasbro comes out with? Like Hasbro I don't just understand. Like, they make some things that are great for Star Wars, and I'm not trying to bash on Hasbro because they do make the great Star Wars Black Series. A lot of that stuff is amazing. I absolutely love that stuff. But I wish the board game license were a little bit more permissive to allow more people to create more products. But like kind of like the way lightsabers work, right? Hasbro has the Black Series lightsabers, but there's lots of other lightsabers. Disney sells a whole different company's lightsabers in their store. You build your own lightsaber. It's not made by Hasbro. All that's made by other people, and I know that for a fact because I tried to go through Hasbro for replacement parts, and they told me point blank, no, we don't make those. So anyway, before I get too far off topic. At the end of the day, Imperial Assault was thought to be dead because they pretty much had to say we have no new plans at this time to make stuff for Imperial Assault, and they kind of left the door open. But it goes to show you, no product is ever dead with FFG until they say it's dead, until they specifically say this is the end, this is the sunset of this game, and they never really said that for Imperial Assault. So Steve Horvath did talk about Imperial Assault. And he did say that the tale of Imperial Assault is not done. He actually talked about its performance since they really kind of stopped producing product. It's still selling very well. I think it's still proving to be a great game. I actually really enjoy the game. I don't get to play it very often. I still have a whole bunch of stuff for it. I have almost everything. There was a few expansions I didn't buy towards the end, but I have all the box expansions. I have some of the character expansions I don't think I picked up. I think it was the Ghost Crew. I don't think I picked up the Ghost Crew for that because by that time Legion was already coming out, and I was like, all right, well, I can't do 2 Star Wars ground-based miniatures games at the same time. I say that, but I also play X-Wing and Armada, so I do 2, space games at the same time. But but I think the strength of Imperial Assault, I know a lot of people like the skirmish format, and just being able to do that. But I think the strength of Imperial Assault is in the campaign, and I would wonder if that's where they're going to go with it. So here's what they also told us additionally about Imperial Assault. While there's not any details related to, what is coming, they did say it would be a long, long way out. So you're looking at future stuff. My guess is 2023 or 2024 for more Imperial Assault. And I'll explain why later on in the video. But yes, they're still making Imperial Assault. And they're still reprinting existing stuff. So it's only new stuff they can't do. They can still reprint. Like they said last year, the only thing they came out with last year was like a new playmat or something like that, but they still had a very, very successful year in Imperial Assault. People are still buying this stuff. New people are still discovering Imperial Assault, and they're still printing new core sets all the time. And if they're making new core sets, this is a game you don't really need to buy multiple core sets for. Not really. The fact that they're making new core sets all the time means more and more people are getting into the game all the time, which is really cool. It's really cool. It's a fun game. It's a great game to play the campaign with your friends, too. It's just a really, really cool thing, especially since they have the digital app and all of that stuff. So anyway, Imperial Assault is not done, which is very, very cool. Moving on to Armada. So he had a lot to say about, a little bit to say about Armada, and really talking about the miniatures games lines. Remember I mentioned earlier with Imperial Assault why I thought 2013 would be the magic number. Well, they just approved there are 3 miniatures games that are their focus, X-Wing, Legion, and Armada. Those lines are approved through 2023. Which is really cool. Those lines are approved through 2023 by Lucasfilm. So the licensing is just one of the hardest parts sometimes, as is done. They said it's the strongest line plan they've ever seen. Lucasfilm said this to them. So that's what Steve was able to report to us, which is really cool. Now, granted, Lucasfilm's definition of strong and the fans' definition of strong might not necessarily align perfectly, but either way, it's still a good sign. The fact that a licensor is happy with them means that hopefully Fantasy Flight continues to retain that license. Now, the 2023 doesn't mean that it's going away in 2023. 2023 is just the end of a block. I mean, I also have a normal job. I don't just do YouTube full time, although you might think I do because I have a video every day or sometimes more than one video every day. But I also work as a contractor, and contracts end and then have to be renewed. Nobody just says, okay, we're going to give you the license for eternity. No, it's for a block of time. And then when that block of time nears completion, there's like a window where they renegotiate and then they reevaluate. Have you been good stewards of our license? Has our agreement been good? Has it been profitable? Have you done anything really bad? And no, you've done everything good. Okay, all right, good. All right, excellent. Well, then, you know what? We don't have any other bidders or competitors who are seeking the license from us that have made us a better offer. So we will renew your license for another 5 years or 3 years or however many years at a time they do it. Right now they are approved through 2023, which is great. We have 3 more years basically of Star Wars miniatures games already confirmed, like locked in. So that's great. That's really good. Some people might have initially heard that and thought, oh man, they're all coming to an end in 2023. No, that just means that's how far out they have planned and locked in right now. Next year, they'll probably have a plan pushing into 2024, or they may even have long-term plans beyond that at this point. But as far as it comes to locking things in with Lucasfilm, they're locked in through 2023 at this time, which is really cool. He also told us that with Armada specifically, we are still on track for quarter 4 this year, which is something I talked about not long ago. And we were already talking about some of the delays and things that are going to happen with the COVID-19 coronavirus and how that might have slowed some product lines down. But this is basically the most recent news we have, is they're still locked in for quarter 4 with Star Wars Armada, which is awesome. Again, going back to my discussions with FFG Marketing, a month or 2 ago, they're still on track. And it goes back to everything that they've said. They even said that at Gen Con last year when I was able to ask Andrew Navarro, and that's been the plan all along. And it sounds to me like they might have been able to get it sooner than that, but they wanted to say, hey, hold on, we expect there's going to be some delays, because there's always delays. So let's push it back. Let's shoot for quarter 4. Let's shoot for like December of 2020. And then if we're able to get it maybe sooner than that, well, then we give ourselves a window in case something goes wrong. And certainly it seems like there have been some shipping delays across the board, but it looks like they're still within that window of quarter 4 2020, which is awesome. So that's a good thing. But we also heard that the second wave of Armada Clone Wars is coming quarter 1 2021. So that is really cool. So wave 2 of Clone Wars is 2021 quarter 1. So that's going to be coming very on the heels of wave 1, which is really comforting, because I am not going to lie, if they do a new core set and it's kind of like the launch of Armada originally was, you're going to get real tired of playing like that one, like how many of you guys who've been playing Armada for a while remember your first core set and you're getting tired of just playing that one victory versus the Nebulon and Corvette like over and over again? Like, it gets old fast. Or the same thing if you played Legion. How many times do you get tired of playing with those core set units? From a certain point of view, Legion Clone Wars has kind of been in that kind of funk right now, where it's just like, all right, I've only got like 3 units to choose from to build this separatist army. So by having a second wave come out very, very, very quickly, that's a very smart move for the health of that game. Now, it will be better than it was initially, because you will now have 4 factions for Armada. So even if Republic is getting stale, well, you can try Republic against Separatists, but then you can also try Republic against Rebels and Republic against Empire. So there's a whole lot of other things that you can do. But this is really good news. I'm really excited about it. And hopefully by Gen Con, we're going to see more stuff. With Adepticon canceled, there may have been some planned announcements. So this is still going to be an interesting month, because a lot of companies, Atomic Mass Games talked about this recently, a lot of companies that had big news planned for Adepticon are still going to release that news. It's just probably going to be in an online forum. And by the way, Fantasy Flight, Asmodee, Atomic Mass Games, if you're listening, if you want to do some kind of interview and we can release some news here on my channel too, I would love to do that and support you guys. But let's face it, I'm going to be reporting on it anyway. But if you want to, if you want to do the exchange and the back and forth, that would be really cool. All right, you guys, that's all I've got for you today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Also, big thanks to the patrons. You guys are amazing. If you are interested in supporting the channel, again, check the links down below. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and let me know what you think down in the comments section. And if you want to click that bell for alerts, you can get notified when new videos come out. I want to thank you all so much for watching. And as always, have a great day.